Hey guys! I asked you guys on Instagram if you had any questions for me for my new mom Q&A, and I'm just gonna go through them and answer. Charlie's still in his jammies because it's cold in our house, isn't it? He's been sitting up a lot on his own lately, so I just have to kind of spot him, make sure he doesn't fall. Like that. What's the biggest advice you can give to a first-time mom? If I could really just sum up, I guess, my top advice for a brand new mom, which was me 5 months ago, I would just say to give yourself grace. We live in a time with more comparison than ever before, and it's easier than ever before to feel like a bad mom. And all you have to do is just log on to any social media website. You'll see like the super fit mom, and you'll see the super like organic mom. You'll see the mom with the perfect house. And I think it's important to remember that, first of all, much of what you see on social media isn't true. And second of all of those things are things that people, they want to put out into the world because they're like measurable ways of saying that they're doing a good job. Like, for example, breastfeeding. I think a lot of people use that as sort of a metric to say that they are a good mom. Moms who have a natural birth, for example. I made all my own baby food, right? Stayed in really amazing shape. And all of that, none of those things are bad in and of themselves. But when we sort of compare ourselves or think that we have to do those things, I mean, the reality is your baby doesn't care about any of that. Your baby doesn't care what your house looks like. Your baby doesn't care what your body looks like. Your baby just wants to be loved. If at the end of the day, your baby has been fed and taken care of and loved, then you're doing an amazing job. It's kind of like that Maya Angelou quote, people won't remember what you did or what you said, they'll remember how you made them feel. I think that's so true with our children, and it's so easy to kind of lean on these things to do when it's not about what you're doing, it's about the being. It's just like being with your children and being present and loving them. I think once you have that frame of mind, it becomes a lot, you can breathe a sigh of relief and just kind of just love your baby, just enjoy your baby, and give yourself grace on everything else, because it really doesn't matter. So anyway, that was a very long-winded answer to get this Q&A started, but give yourself grace. If you wanted to have a natural birth and you had to have a C-section, your baby doesn't care. If you wanted to breastfeed but your milk never came in and you had to feed the baby formula, they don't care. They just, as long as they're fed, happy, loved, I mean, they're not always gonna be happy, but that's all you have to do. Okay, let's move on. Tips/advice for taking care of a baby while recovering from a C-section. I couldn't have done that without a lot of help from my husband, because physically you're just not able to do a lot of things. Like, you can't really be picking the baby up much. You can't be lifting the car seat. You have to really take it easy. And there were days that I did too much. And we have a big staircase at our house, and going up and down the staircase, I would notice, like, if I did a lot of cleaning the day before, then the next day I would really pay for it. And so you have to be on the same page with your partner. They have to just be made aware that you can't physically be doing a lot. Set up camp in your bed or your recliner and just feed the baby and cuddle with the baby and rest, and leave, you know, changing diapers and anything that requires like lifting. Certainly leave housework and things like that. Let that go. How long did it take you to recover as far as activity, not just body image, postpartum? It took me a while. A lot of people say 6 weeks, and I still didn't feel quite back to normal activity-wise at 6 weeks. I think for me it was more like 2 months. I think that in my case, I sort of had both births, because if you guys know my birth story, I pushed him to where his head was like almost out. Like, they could see his hair, he was that far down. But he got stuck. And so then I had to have a C-section after that. So I think that I sort of had both births in a sense. I think that was why it took me longer to recover than usual. I had some questions about acid reflux, his acid reflux, and I'm going to just do a whole video on that because there's so much to say. And it would just take up a large portion of this video if I were to answer all of those questions here. So I'm just gonna do a separate video on that for those of you who are interested in that topic. What was your breastfeeding experience? Was it painful or easy? It was painful. It was painful for me. And I still don't quite know why. I think I had sort of an overactive supply. I had too much milk when it came in, which created some latch issues that we didn't have in the hospital before my milk came in. I honestly don't know, but it was quite painful for me in the beginning. I would take like a breastfeeding break for say the weekend and I would exclusively pump, and then I would go back to nursing regular. And when I was, I think, a month postpartum, he's chewing on my hand because he's teething. When I was about a month postpartum, it no longer hurt. Do you remember that? No, you don't even remember that, do ya? How do you get stuff done? Housework / work. I have a 4-month-old and her question got cut off, but I think she's saying I can't get anything done. Good question. If you have the answer to this question, please let me know. I honestly don't have a good answer for this. I think that when you have a young baby, you just have to kind of like reprioritize and stuff just has to go and you're sinking into the pillows. I think when I first had him, I was all about like, okay, how can I hack this situation so that I can keep getting as much done as I did before and care for a baby? And I think that the real answer is you just have to cut back on what you were doing before. And I know that's hard to do, but it's just for a season. And that's what I tell myself, like this is just the season where my house is not spotless by any means. The little bit of work that I do get done is usually either A, if he's napping and I can put him down in his pack and play, which doesn't always happen because he doesn't, a lot of times he'll cry when I put him down, so that doesn't always work. Or if I put him down, like nurse him to sleep in our bed, then I will bring my laptop up here and work with it, you know, so I can make sure he doesn't fall off the bed, but I'll work here while he's sleeping. That's another thing that I do. Best items from your registry you love and can't live without. I didn't have a registry because I didn't want a baby shower, but as far as just things that we have, I really love our Ergo 360 baby carrier, our pack and play that we got. I love our stroller. I'll put links to these things below in case you're interested. I've mentioned them all before, but in case you're wanting specific links, I'll put them below. We no longer use his rock and play, but for a while that was just a godsend. Also our high chair from Orabelle, which is, it's a high chair / bassinet type of deal. Like you can lean it backwards, but he loves to just sit in that. And we also have a Fisher Price floor chair that he likes to sit in. And both of those things have been very handy because then you can just take him with you into the kitchen or wherever you are. I would also say in the last month or so, the Jumperoo has been great. He loves that. Did conceiving through IVF make you feel like you're expected to never complain? Yes. And you feel guilty on top of the already difficult feelings that you're having with a new baby. There's a lot of just difficult feelings involved, and there, I mean, some women get postpartum depression, and thankfully I didn't, but you know, to be feeling those things and then on top of that to feel the guilt of knowing, you know, oh, I wanted this baby for so long and now he's here and I'm not being appreciative, and there are so many women who would trade places with me in a heartbeat. And all of those feelings can really kind of add up and just make you feel even worse. And I know that so many of you guys are also dealing with infertility, and maybe that's how you found my channel. And so, yeah, it's hard because I don't want to ever be dishonest. I know that like people who are going through infertility, they have it in their head that if I could just have a baby, then I'd be happy. And so I know that like I could easily appeal to what they're wanting to see by showing this sort of picture perfect look at motherhood, but that's not realistic. And honestly, nothing in life is like that. I think that we can all fall into that trap of saying, once I get this, I'll be happy. The true answer is you have to find contentment where you're at now. Yeah, I guess that's, again, a kind of a long-winded answer, but I just want to keep it real with you guys and let you know that having a baby is wonderful and great, but like there are of course going to be things that happen that are hard. I'm just trying to just be honest. I think that being honest is the only real way to like help other people. Aside from the reflux, what was something that you were totally unprepared for? I would say breastfeeding. Well, it's a tie between breastfeeding and the birth experience. Both of those things I was completely unprepared for. I thought that I was prepared for both. I honestly did so much reading. I read a whole book about breastfeeding. It's called The Womanly Art of Breastfeeding. It's a great book. But I read that and I felt like, oh, this is gonna be not easy, but like it's the most natural thing, and I felt confident going in. And it was a lot more difficult than I thought it was going to be. And the birth, I mean, you guys know, like that was just craziness and traumatic. And yeah, I was not prepared for either of those two things, even though I did plenty of research and reading. Some stuff in life you just can't prepare for until you're there, until you experience it. Is baby sleeping through the night? Any sleep tips? Are you? Huh? No. He is not sleeping through the night. He has had nights that he's slept through, but no, he's not sleeping through the night. I think a big part of his sleep issues right now are the fact that he's teething, and that's what's causing a lot of his fussiness right now. So he just wants to have something in his mouth, and that something is me. As far as sleep goes, we're co-sleeping, and that makes it a lot easier because I can just kind of like roll over and like give him the boob and he goes back to sleep. I think the co-sleeping really helps because most mornings I don't wake up feeling like I've been hit by a truck or anything. What's wrong? What, honey? Do you sleep train Charlie? No, again, like I said, we co-sleep. I totally understand the reasons behind that. I just don't agree with it for myself. I don't judge people who do it. And I know that there are lots of different ways of sleep training. It's not always like completely cry it out, and some people do cry it out and they say that's fine. But for me, I don't feel right about it. Are babies as expensive as they seem? They're pretty expensive, but if you have like a close family and you can get a lot of hand-me-downs and things like that, that's super helpful. Obligatory annoying question, when do you guys plan to have baby number 2? So if you guys don't know, we have one more embryo left from our IVF. We'll have to decide at what point that we want to transfer that. Right now, to me, a 3-year spacing feels pretty good. Like when he's 3, he will be starting preschool. So that's kind of how I'm feeling right now, is maybe do the transfer when he's around 2. A lot of people try to get pregnant again when their first baby is 1, and then they do kind of like a 2 under 2 situation, which I can also understand the benefit in that. But I just feel like I would like a little bit more space. My sister and I are 4.5 years apart. That to me was maybe a tad too much space, even though we're really close. What has the transition of running your business as a new mom been like? I've found that I have had to prioritize a lot more than ever before. I have an online store, and one day I would really love to have like a brick and mortar store, and so just trying to kind of keep that alive and just like keeping my orders filled and keeping new inventory in and doing some design work when I can. But I'm not doing any freelance design work anymore because I haven't been doing that in a while anyway, because I just really didn't enjoy it. I tried it for like a year, but it just really wasn't for me. But I have had a lot of people, like kind of a shocking amount of people lately ask me to do photography work for them, which I haven't been marketing myself as doing that, but I've just been kind of taking that type of work as it comes because I do enjoy it, and then just working on my store and my YouTube channel, and it's a lot to juggle, and that's why sometimes stuff just has to slide. Like my store, I'm not doing nearly as much with it as I would like to do, but I just keep telling myself that, whoa, that was a big burp. Yeah, so I just try to keep it in perspective that I have my whole life to work on my business, but he's only little once. He's only a baby for a year, you know? Like if you really think about that, that's crazy. So just trying to soak up the time with him, and I consider myself a stay-at-home mom first and a business owner second. But yeah, I would love to sit here and be like, you just have to grind it out and do it, and like just wake up at 3 in the morning and work and grow your business, and you can do all the things. But I don't think that you can do all the things, not at once. Certain things have to take priority, and for me, he takes priority. It was a hard transition at first because I think I placed so much of my worth on my work. And so to slow down, well, this just got real deep real quick, didn't it? But you know, I think a lot of us do that. Like we value ourselves based on worldly things, whether it be our work or our bodies or our homes or our, you know, things like that. And having a baby really is, I think, a gift from God in more than one way, because I think also it humbles you and you have to find your worth in love rather than those worldly things. So I think that that's just a very good like thing for your soul and just like spiritually. That's not the answer you were expecting, was it? Have you had body image issues during / after pregnancy? Yes, but not as bad as I would have thought. I gained 35 pounds during my pregnancy. I've lost, like I said, all but 10. And it came off easy. I think that compared to a lot of women, I really haven't dealt with that much because I haven't really had time to think about it. Do you keep Charlie on a sleep, eat, wake schedule? He, a lot of times, has to be nursed to sleep, for me anyway. Now, my mom and my mother-in-law, they can get him to sleep just from rocking him, but he will not do that for me. He knows that I have what he wants. Most of the time, he prefers to be nursed to sleep, and some people say that's a bad habit. No, I don't do what they recommend, which is the eat, play, sleep. We kind of do more of a eat, sleep, play. I just breastfeed him on demand though. Not real big on schedule, but he has kind of fallen into his own schedule. I just think it's more enjoyable, and because I am a stay-at-home mom, like I can be flexible, so I feel like why not? And it's more enjoyable for me to just kind of like watch his cues. Like, oh, he's rubbing his eyes, he's starting to get tired, it's about time for a nap. I do keep an eye on the clock because if it's been an hour and a half to 2 hours, that's when since he woke up last, that's when he is usually getting sleepy again. So I kind of follow that. Okay, so I think that's all for this Q&A. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to follow me over on Instagram if you would like to participate in upcoming Q&As, because that's usually where I will ask for questions. Thanks so much for following my channel. If you are new here, please subscribe so that you don't miss any new videos, and be sure to like this video. Bless you, bless you. If you would, or if you enjoy Q&As. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you again soon. Bye. Hiya, 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 hiya.